Hi, my name is Meredith, and I do the Fun for Wednesdays and Book Baby story time at the Shoe Park Library. I'm here with my friend Manhattan today. Say hello, Manhattan. Hi, everybody. So we're going to bring you some songs and some stories today and give you something to do. So how have you been? Pretty good. So tell me, how did you get the name Manhattan? That's kind of an unusual name. Oh, look inside me and my tag. Look at my tag. Made by the Manhattan Toy Company. Yeah, that's me. Made by the Manhattan Toy Company. That's how I got my name. I have a brother named Philadelphia. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, Okay, well, should we do a hello song? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna put you down and I'll bring you back later, okay? Okay, bye. So we're gonna do, this is to the tune, If You're Happy and You Know It. If you'd like to hear a story, clap your hands. If you'd like to hear a story, clap your hands. If you'd like to hear a story, if you'd like to hear a story, if you'd like to hear a story, clap your hands. Rub your tummy's the next verse. If you'd like to hear a story, rub your tummy. If you'd like to hear a story, rub your tummy. If you'd like to hear a story, if you'd like to hear a story, if you'd like to hear a story, rub your tummy. If you'd like to hear a story, stomp your feet. If you'd like to hear a story, stomp your feet. If you'd like to hear a story, if you'd like to hear a story, if you'd like to hear a story, stomp your feet. Yay! Good job, boys and girls. Okay, so the story I have for you today is called Unknown by Colin Thompson. This was one of my daughter's favorite books when she was little. It's about a little dog at the dog pound who's unknown. I better put my glasses on so I can see what I'm reading. The noise was deafening. 20 dogs were shouting at the tops of their voices, "Me, me, 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 choose me." The little dog in the last cage was too scared to shout. She just sat at the back of her cage and shivered. In the next cage, the biggest, wildest dog she'd ever seen in her life leaped at the fence, foaming at the mouth. "Over here," he shouted at the humans. "Over here, I'm a real dog." The caretaker put a sign on each cage in the animal shelter to tell the humans about the dogs inside. There was Stray. Next to him, Owner Died, and Owner Gone Abroad. Another one was called Unwanted Christmas Gift. The huge dog was called Grown Too Large, and the little dog in the last cage was called Unknown because she'd been left in a box outside the shelter in the middle of the night. "Hey, take me," shouted Grown Too Large, "or I'll bite you." The humans passed each cage, shaking their heads, and then they left. Gradually the barking died down, and the dogs grew sad and tired. They curled up in their boxes and went to sleep. It was the same every day, over and over again. Sometimes the dogs were taken out of their cages and walked up and down, and sometimes dogs went off to new homes. When they did, there were always other unwanted dogs to take their place. Eek. People with children took the puppies and friendly dogs home to play ball in the backyard and to curl up together to watch television. Little old ladies took little old dogs home to keep them company in the long afternoons, to sit on their laps and dream and eat meat and potatoes and cake on Fridays. It seemed that for every type of dog, there was the right type of person, big dog and big person, small dog and small person. All except for Grown Too Large, who was so ferocious no one would go near him, and Unknown. No one seemed to notice her. The other dogs ran forward, barking and wagging their tails, but Unknown was too nervous and sat in her bed in the shadows. She was the same color as the shadows, so most people looking into her cage thought it was empty and kept on walking. One night, the skies grew wild. Angry rain threw itself on the tin roofs of the cages, drumming like wild horses. It poured onto the concrete like a great waterfall, while lightning flashed over the trees across the yard. Unable to sleep with the noise, the dogs sat in their cages, watching the storm as they waited for it to pass. Unknown liked the rain. It washed the dust off the world and made everything smell fresh and alive. But the smells, the warm earth, the clean leaves, made her feel lonely. Where am I? In the back of his cage, big and savage, grown too large, shook like a leaf. With every crack of lightning, he shivered more. He put his paws over his head and tried to shut everything out. There were 2 blinding flashes, and suddenly the trees were on fire. The rain slowed to a drizzle as the flames danced through the branches, leaping from tree to tree, until the yard and its row of cages were surrounded by a ring of fire. The big dog was scared out of his wits, but there was nowhere to hide. "We're all going to die," cried Grown Too Large at the top of his voice, as burning branches began to fall down around them. "Help! Help! Somebody help!" But even the loudest barks were lost in the thunder and lightning. Unknown could see that no one was going to come. Who would be out on a night like this? She knew that if something were to be done, she would have to do it herself. So she scratched at the wire in the darkest corner of the cage. It was getting very hot. In some places, the wire walls of the cages were beginning to glow. Unknown's paws were split and bleeding, but at last she made a hole just big enough to squeeze through, and she ran through the rain of burning leaves until she was outside the ring of trees. There she is. Unknown ran to a house across the road and barked at the top of her voice at the front door. At last, someone looked out. It was the caretaker of the shelter, and he recognized Unknown immediately. Unknown ran back across the road, followed by the caretaker and his wife, who raced along, opening the cages and leading the dogs to safety. They all ran through the burning trees toward the house, all except Grown Too Large, who was too scared to move and had to be carried like a baby over the road. Only one dog, Keeps Running Off, ran away. There's the caretaker carrying Grown Too Large across the street. "He'll be back," said the caretaker, wrapping Grown Too Large's head in a wet towel. "He's here about 4 times a year. He's had more owners than I can remember." The next day, Unknown's picture was on the front page of the newspapers. Suddenly, there were about 200 families who wanted to give her a home. "I got lucky. But it would be good," she said to Grown Too Large as she left the animal shelter with her new loving family, "if we could put all the humans in cages and walk along with our noses in the air and choose the ones we wanted." But Grown Too Large wasn't really listening. He changed his name to Grown Too Soft and fallen in love with the caretaker and his wife and their 5 children. Oh, and their other dog and their cat and their hamster Nigel. The end. So that came out pretty happy. The dogs got a home. Okay, so now let's maybe do a little song together. I was thinking of the elevator song because it's one of my favorites. Okay, ready? Here we go. Oh, the city is great and the city is grand. There's a lot of tall buildings on a little piece of land, and we live way up on the 57th floor. And this is what we do when we go out the door. We take the elevator up, we take the elevator down, we take the elevator up, we take the elevator down, we take the elevator up, we take the elevator down, and we all spin around. Yay! Okay, that's all I have for you today. Manhattan, you better come and say goodbye. Come and say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. See you next week. Bye. Very good.